So you're running for the State Board of Education, right?
I am. Yes.
And what, with your understanding of history, what made you decide this is something that you wanted to sign up for and take this on? Because it's not for the faint of heart running for an elected office.
I didn't see it coming. And, I don't know, I'm a person of faith. And I think through COVID really is what woke me up and got me involved in politics.
I hear that a lot.
I watched so many people out of fear crumble. And I worry, there's a quote that I think it's Jefferson that says maybe it was Ben Franklin that said those who give up essential liberty for some security, like you end up with neither. So I worry about fear being used to drive control. And I decided I wanted to know the people locally who were in politics because I could see how they were affecting our daily lives more than maybe who's in Washington. Although with the inflation right now, kind of go, maybe not. But so I got involved and I got involved with Republican women, and I didn't even know that was a thing. And it's just kind of led me to being a delegate and being involved in caucus and convention and precinct chair. And I was just praying last year, like, why do I care so much? I drive my kids crazy, drive my husband crazy, talking about politics and education, and probably driven some friends away because I just think about it all the time. I'm reading and listening to podcasts, and I love learning. And I look at bigger pictures. What's coming down? Who benefits? That's one of the key lines from that A More Perfect Union movie that I loved. Cui bono. It's a Latin phrase for who benefits. I look at agendas and who's driving things. So I just have gotten involved and started praying, like, why do I care? What am I supposed to do with that? And this was kind of dropped in my lap. I was approached by a couple different people and asked to run for the state school board. I had not been following them very closely, just kind of, I follow education and I'm concerned about our state and some of where we're headed, the grades going away till 8th grade, where we only have like a 1 through 4 now. I'm watching things, had heard a lot about sexual books in the schools.
Hold on, grades?
Grades. So grades in our schools, like my kids no longer have an A, B, C, or D, or F until 8th grade.
Okay.
Actually, is it even, I'm trying to think, it might be 9th grade that the grades, but I think maybe it's 8th. But it's a 1 through 4. They've gone to a 1 through 4. And that 3 is really ambiguous. 3 just means you're on grade level. You could be an A minus, you could be a C. How do you know? Where is that? The kids don't really even know. I'm a 3. I'm on grade level. I'm fine. So I worry about dumbing things down or lowering of standards that I'm seeing rather than excellence. Where I grew up in Texas, I had all honors classes. I knew the same. I was with the same kids a lot through 10th grade, knew that from kindergarten. And I think that we do better when we have things to work for and we have hope and America is based on merit.
That's interesting because I hadn't heard anything about the grade thing. In college, I had a teacher. He was actually a political ideology teacher.
Okay.
Shout out to Marcus Green, Professor Marcus Green, Professor Marcus Green.
Yeah.
He taught political ideology across the board, right? So whether it's, authoritarian dictatorships, whether it's, Hobbes and a monarchy, or is it a republic or a pure democracy or communism, like all these different ideologies. So that's the class he taught. And he had a 4-point system in his grades. Okay. He didn't do A, B, C. And he explained it to us and it made so much sense to me. And it's like all through school, you have your grade point average, you got A, B, C, D, and then F, and then it got translated into a point system. A 4.0 would be all A's, right?
Sure.
And so, but he took it all the way to the individual assignments, right? So even your assignments were on a 4-point scale. So it was easier for me to understand, especially because it would be, a 3-point something, right? So it gives the scale. So you actually ended up, if it was just 4 or just 3 or just 2 or just 1, that'd be confusing. But it was, 3.9 or 3.8 or 3.7. Okay. So it was almost as a percentage thing. So for me, it made a whole lot of sense.
Which is what we graduated with, right?
Yeah.
You would have like a 3.97. Or
It made sense. It made sense to me, but it's also, I could see how when you make changes like this, it's hard to like wrap around. Going back to what you said is like, who benefits from this? Like,
Right.
what's the purpose of this?
Right.
Are we really, is this solving a problem that is? What's
Yeah.
the problem that this is solving? Or are we
Yeah.
just justifying, we're going to change this thing because we want to justify that we're supposed to be doing something. And this looks like we're busy.
Yeah. And I feel like most people in education and people, there's reasons, and it's important to understand both sides of the reasons. And so the theme of equity, which some people, equity, trying to be fair. They're trying to be fair with things. I feel like equity is also used in Marxism, and it's equal outcomes, and so to me, it seems like we have to be careful with equity to make, is it fair for everybody? Mm-hmm. Because I feel like you kill people's drive if they work just as hard. If you don't have grades that match your work ethic, I guess, that if somebody is just passed along and gets the same grade where I've spent 4 hours on a project and they spent no time and they just jumped in and put their name on it, but we don't want to make them feel bad, that kind of a thing. I worry with programs like affirmative action, and, we've seen the legislature swing more conservative and come out and say, we want to get rid of the DEI programs and critical race theory across the board. I think these programs start with good intentions, but they can be really destructive and send the wrong message. And so, as I was presented and thinking about it, I just felt like I should jump in, and that maybe there is a reason that I care so much. Yeah. And with my background of history and looking at bigger pictures, and I want to see our kids taught full history. I want them to love their country. We have a lot of students graduating. Utah graduates 9 of 10 students, and they brag about that a lot. But half of them can't read, write, or do math at grade level. The proficiency rates have gone down. And I called Utah Tech because I had a math teacher here locally tell me that Math 900 has skyrocketed, which is remedial math. It's like going back to, 8th grade, fifth to 8th grade math skills to be able to do your college math. And so you've got to go into university. We have I think they said 10 times it's gone up, the enrollment in Math 900 at Utah Tech.
Interesting.
In the last, I don't know if it's 4 to 6 years, but the rates are going down of our kids' proficiency and understanding. And so I'm just trying to be part of solutions and helping. And as I've started watching the board and studying them for the last 4 months, I'm just disappointed in the vote from our area and the kind of the majority of the board. Like the legislature made the state school board, it used to be appointed. So this has been a big education for me. They were appointed for a long time by the governor. And education in general is just more progressive and liberal. They've got higher ed thinking, and but they made it nonpartisan, and then it was an elected position. And I'm not sure when that passed, but 4 years ago, the legislature changed it to be a partisan race to try to bring some more accountability onto the school board. So we now have 2 Democrats and 13 Republicans on our state school board. And our area, I think it maybe was more just Utah.
Okay, here, let's slow down. Okay. Let's slow down a little bit. Okay, so it started as an appointed position.
And I'm not sure if it was elected before that. I don't know the whole history, but for a long time it was appointed. So when under like Mike Levitt and I believe Huntsman, like for a while we had appointed boards that the governor would appoint.
So so just on the macro, we had an appointed board of education, the Utah State Board of Education. Yes,
and it is a constitutionally established board in our state constitution.
So there is a so it's within the Constitution. So then it was appointed, and then at some point, it doesn't really matter when, but at some point, it was goes to an elected position.
Yes.
And no longer appointed by the governor.
Right.
And then how many
4 years ago,
how many board members?
15.
So there's 15 board members.
15 different districts and board members, yes.
So the state's divided up into districts, and that's based off of population or number of schools, or how does that, do you know what that is?
You know what? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm coming in from. I'm
not sure.
I have a 8-year-old.
I should know that.
I have an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 3-year-old, and I'm like, all right, it's a whole nother like aspect of where, and this is where I get why voters get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And they're like, the amount of time and energy it takes to not only vet the candidates by understanding what the issues are, but it's also understanding the background of like all these pieces. And then it's like, who is to benefit? Going all the way back to that. I think that's a brilliant thought to always kind of keep top of mind. But it's a massive mound of information.
It is.
And so when we started the podcast, I was like, oh, this would be an opportunity for somebody to tune in and kind of flush out some of these issues and have these long form. And the more you learn, the more you find out you don't know anything, or I don't know anything.
Oh no, that's how I feel too.
So voters can be overwhelmed, and they're just like, Rob, tell me who to vote for.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
I hear that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you just tell me who to vote for? Because I know you care. Can you just give me your advice? So that's why I'm a big advocate for the representative system, right? Of like saying, okay, some people are going to have the ability to focus in on these areas and others aren't.